Welcome in the ring. A very good morning to each and every one of you. Welcome to this very special report of In the Ring, where we're talking about 911, the nation on the watch. And we're getting several reports from our regional representatives, our member of parliaments who are in the region, and members of the public as well. Folks, as we come on here, I want to invite Mr. Vincent Henry, and he's our member of parliament from Region 9. And I want to welcome him right off the bat. Uh, Vincent, a very good morning. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Sharad, and good morning to you and all listeners also.
Vincent, tell us about the flood that is happening in Region 9 as you know the situation to be.
Well, yes, indeed, I can give a report on that. Let's start with Latam. Latam itself doesn't have a flood at this moment. The water receded, and I was following up what is happening in Roraima and also in Manaus. I was told that in Manaus they had some very big floods there a few days ago, and normally when that happens, the water would end up on us here in Latam, and we would have big floods. But I'm glad to say that this morning I got a report from Bovista, which says that there is no flood there, only in the hinterland areas of the flood. And so we seem to be very safe here at this time in Latam, which is good.
Good
We
news.
had some high waters. It wasn't as high as what had happened like in 2015 and 2018, but it did cause some problems, which are now under control. I understand. So Latam is clearly okay, and let us hope that it remains that way because if the water backs up to this area here, then we would be in serious problems for many weeks to come. The As we go further down South Tripanoni, there were some heavy rains a few days ago in the south, and Cardanawa, was, Cardanawa and Acheweb and Bashai's Run were badly hit there. The water really came up high, and many of the farms were submerged. And this
Yeah. Vincent,
indeed is
we
a
had
problem.
learned that in, for instance, Cardinal, there were two bridges that were closed, that were impassable. Do you have a sense that might have been better since then? Things are better since then there?
I did not get a report this morning because I couldn't get in contact with the Tusha. But however, I heard that the water was going down, and and the although the water is still high, but it's not as threatening as before. But what I can say is that the aftermath of the flood will indeed be very serious because the cassava crops of the farmers will all be destroyed. And like I mentioned before some time ago, that is the livelihood of the people. We use the cassava to make farine and cassava bread, and without that in the house, people starve, literally starve. So what's going to be happening very soon is that there'll be a big shortage of cassava in those villages, and there will be a need for a sort of an organized assistance to go in there, organized disaster relief to go in there. So far, I understand that some sort of relief went in, but it was not enough. And the two shows had to use their initiative and make sure that people get a little bit here, a little bit there. In the village of Warwanau, was told that although there were about 120 families who were affected, only a few received help. And as such, people are in a desperate situation there. Although I also understand that Achirep did not receive any sort of relief, although Bashaidrun, which is somewhat behind Achirep, did get some relief. It's still worrying too because, you know, Achirep is a village well known for supporting Apno AFC, and I wonder why they were left out and why others are getting help. So I'm calling on the CDC to ensure that let's have some sort of equity, let's have fairness. Do not Let us not bring politics into this situation. People are suffering and they need help. This is time to help everybody, regardless of whether you're wearing a green shirt or a red shirt. We all of them are in need of help. And so we must think that the state is ensure that equity is there. I was told I was told that the Indian People's Association had a program during COVID. COVID is still ongoing, by the way, and in which they were giving help to the community. And that program went very, very well indeed. People had no complaints and people got help. People were satisfied. And I would like to ask that the government include these organizations in their planning and also consultations and also in the implementation of disaster relief and other humanitarian efforts. What I was told was that there was a program called the HASAD program, agricultural program, in which the local organizations were to be the coordinating organization for the agricultural program. But suddenly the government withdrew that and handed it over to others. So it is, these are the people who know the area. These are the people who live there, who feel
Yeah,
whatever happens there. These are the people who are on the ground and make things happen.
yeah.
Involve them. These are the ones to put things in order. Don't bring
As
some
a matter of
people.
fact, as a matter of fact, Vincent, we're learning that the Tushao Vaishalton, Mr. Michael Thomas, he was very adamant that it was the village councillors who had made recommendations that government contractors install culverts at strategic points, but the recommendations have not been considered. They said that the road project was executed just over a month ago, funded by the RDC, but their considerations were not taken into account, and that may have resulted in some of the flooding because of the lack of these culverts, and that is coming out of the Tushaw of Aishalton, for instance. And he said that and he was lamenting the fact of, and this is from the state newspaper, the Chronicle we're picking up this information from. He was talking about the poor quality of work being done in the area, in the main access road between his community of Aishalton and Cardinal.
Sharad, this is just the tip of the iceberg here, so to speak. But what I can go back a bit and say that the APNU AFC, only had about 3.5 years to really implement and cause development in the region. But within that period of time, we did a lot of development, and not substandard development, real good development in terms of infrastructure. In fact, what we have done, we can safely say that in the 3.5 years, we did more and better infrastructure than what the PPP had done in their 23 years in government. For example, just between Shodinab and a place called Sawara Bridge, there are about 8 culverts, well-made concrete culverts that are standing up to today. You go there, you will see them standing up. They're not being washed away, and this is what was supposed to have been done by this government now. But like you mentioned, a lot of substandard infrastructural work are happening. It is as if these guys are doing it just to give themselves work so that they can be able to earn some good monies. And after a short period of time, those infrastructural works are all destroyed, gone because of the weather, etc. And they get another job again, more money in their hands. So it's not the people's welfare that these guys have, as uppermost. It is their pocket, and that is so sad for Region 9. We are seeing in the middle of Latam here, roads that are being built by this current government here, and in a matter of weeks, you are seeing potholes in those roads already. And although we are making noises, they will continue to do it. These guys do not listen to the people; they listen to their own pockets.
And Vincent, before I let you go, we learn that even though populated places like Tabachinga and Culver City were flooded, the water there is more manageable now. Any thoughts on what is happening there?
I was informed yesterday afternoon that the water has gone down, and the people are returning. Who the people who were relocated are returning back to their homes, and uh, and things are going back to normalcy. Of course, they will still continue to need help as they get back on their feet. And I keep seeing, I keep seeing on the Facebook and other places where some people are saying that these people should move to higher ground, etc. Well, yes, indeed. But when these people are now suffering, they are now suffering. We shouldn't be bashing them and trying to put them down. We should be trying to help them. And after that, then we can move towards, helping them to go on higher grounds and, making their lives become better. But right now they need help. Let us help them.
I really want to thank you for coming through this morning and giving us that report from Region 9. The weather, at least where you are, looks a little better. Where are you currently,
I'm in
Vincent?
Latem itself right now. I'm in Latem and we have brilliant sunshine. We had some rain last night, the night before. But basically, it's a normal rainy season at this time here. Let's hope it keeps that way, so that we will not be suffering as time goes on.
Great. Thanks very much again, Member of Parliament Vincent Henry from Region 9, for coming through this morning and giving us this update as what's happening as regards to flood where you are. Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much, Sharon.
Great. Folks, and there we have it again out of Vincent in Lethem there, centrally in Lethem currently. Brilliant sunshine, he says, and giving us an update as to what pertains to the flood, where he is. I think one of our other MPs are going to come through, or one of our representatives from the region is going to come through, and we are holding for that to see how that goes when he comes through. But folks, we are continuing to survey what is happening in the regions, and as we have been showing you earlier, in lots of the places there is rain. There is rain. There is flooding. Rather, let me bring up back that graphic for you. And this is in all of the 10 administrative region in various parts. There is flooding that is currently ongoing. The rain has eased in some places, as Vincent told us, but the water is either at a standstill or is in the process of receding, and we're grateful for that. And some of the information also suggests that they are what you call it, infrastructural works that are needed. I think I have um, Ronald Cox who is joining me. I hope we can get the audio good. Let me see if we can get this. Ronald? Hello? Hi, Ronald. I'm trying to get your audio. Go right ahead. Ronald, very good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Cheryl. Thank you.
I hope that the members of the public can hear. I was hoping we can capture the audio otherwise, but we'll try to do the best that we can. Ronald, tell us what's happening where you are. You're in Region 1, Barima Winey.
Yes, yes, Cheryl. I'm in Mabruma of the Borno region.
Go, go right ahead.
Well, over the last few days, the residents of the Borno region, well, more especially here in Mabruma district, where communities located in the flat areas were completely devastated by flooding. Well, from yesterday to today, they are now getting back to their normal life in terms of they are now cleaning up. Shops owner, business people, they are throwing away whatever was damaged. And I walked around yesterday and I saw some of them lifting their floors. So they're doing new floors in preparation if we should have another flooding like that. Persons lost their livestock. Different things happening. But right now, people are getting back to normal, and like I said, they're in cleanup mode.
Yeah, yeah. And what else? What else might be happening where you are there? Because we were made to understand that, and you were monitoring, for instance, several areas. For instance, the Hossororo stretch of road there. What is happening where that is concerned? And some of the infrastructural work that is needed there. Has it improved? Clearing of the drainage and that kind of thing.
Well, I know that the minister with responsibility, parliamentary responsibility for here, Mr. Colin Cole, he visited, and I learned that he visited the Hosoro stretch along with the REO and two regional engineers from the Works Department, just to see what was happening. But beside that, nothing has happened. Nothing is being done. I haven't seen any excavator or anything to say clear the drains. I haven't seen any emergency personnel on the ground trying to see what they could do to help drain the land as quickly as possible. I learned that there are two sluices located on the junction. So you have the Hosoro stretch and the Comaka junction. There's one. There's another one at the Hosoro stretch and the Covermore proposed road project. And so from time to time, people used to maintain those sluices themselves.
So I'm assuming that the situation remains the same at the Kimberimo bridge as well.
Yes, the only thing though is that the water is not high at this time, and so they are not flooded. Let's say in their homes, they're not flooded. However,
Thanks be to God for that. Yeah.
when we still have the high tide, and so the water will rise, and you will have some low areas will be flooded. But they need to maintain the sluices. They need to look at that. I think it might be too small. It might be required to install a larger one so that they can take the water off faster.
And what about the area of 6 miles there? We made to understand that lots of the roads were impassable. Has that improved?
You said 6 miles?
Yeah.
I suppose that is in Port Kaituma.
Okay, I may be mixing up my jurisdictions.
Yeah, Port Kaituma, but I haven't received any official notification from my comrades in Port Kaituma. So I can't really speak much on that one, but I guess they might be experiencing similar situations there.
Ronald, how is the weather where you are currently? You're in the region, I am supposing.
Yes, I'm in the region. It's rain in and out. We had rain last night. Presently we're having looking like clear weather, but now and again you have drizzle. So you know, in these parts, because of the geographical and the other makeup of the what do you call it? These types of area, the weather system, you can't really predict it. It's unpredictable. So you could have sunshine now, and then you could have heavy rain in the next 2 hours or so.
Understood. Understood. Ronald, thanks very much for coming through from Region 1, Burima, Winey, and giving us an update as to the situation there.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much for having me as well. I also want to say one more thing.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I trust that the government, even though as installed as they may be, they have the responsibility to get out there, meet with the people, see how they're affected, and put measures in place to help them. Whether it's the person who had a chicken farm, whether it's the person who had a person who has a large or small business, each and every one is affected. Everyone. Get out there, get to the people, get the help the people need, and support them in putting them back on their feet. If somebody requires 100 chicken, give it to them. Let them start back their chicken
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
If somebody, a business person, lost $2 million, $5 million in stuff, see how best he could put back something on the people's shelf. And let's get back to some normalcy. And stop going into communities just because it is a crisis and you take the opportunity just to travel the country and take photos. Meet everyone, not just your supporters. I learned that Mr. Kroll is only meeting his supporters in Region 1. Persons who they presume to be coalition supporters, they're not visiting them. They're not going to talk with them to assess the situation.
Yeah.
And that is bad.
Very, very sad. Ronald, thanks again for coming through.
Thank you, Cheryl. Have a good day.
You too. And folks, that is our MP, Ronald Cox, joining us there, as I said, from Region 1, Barima Winey, and filing that update as to what is occurring there. I think we have on the line, we have Ms. Kamal Prasad, who is going to be joining us, and she is the vice chair out of Region 7, Bartica in particular, the vice chair for the Regional Democratic Council there in Region 7. And she's going to be telling us some of what is happening there in Bartica. I know they were hard hit over this last weekend, and I'm very, very eager to hear some of what would have transpired there in Bartica. I think we have her with us, and let me make sure we have her.
Good morning. I'm here.
A very good morning, Kamal. How are things where you are there?
Well, the weather has the rainfall has been consistent, although not as heavy. I have to correct you on one thing.
Go right
It
ahead.
wasn't the weekend that we experienced the heavy flooding. It was on Wednesday, which was Independence Day.
Because of the holiday, I'm actually thinking there was a weekend just
Yes,
behind us. Apologies
understandably
there.
so.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
My apologies.
We're now into weekend, and like Ronald has said, it is mostly cleanup efforts, assessment of damages, and so forth that has been going on for the past couple of days. The rain continues to fall, but fortunately, like you said, thank God, not to the extreme like on Wednesday. So there aren't any reports of any heavy flooding and so forth throughout the township and other areas around the township as well.
Awesome. And I know part of what you would have been saying is that we have our part to play to as citizens in terms of not littering. You even spoke about the impact of climate change that we seem not to be taking cognizance of. We recently had the removal of a huge swath of mangrove at Versailles on the east, well, Region 3 on the west bank. So tell us a little bit about that, and you are thinking where those things are concerned. I see on social media, you would have said, you would have talked about all of that.
Yes, well, it is quite evident that the way we as Guyanese dispose of our garbage, we're throwing boxes and bottles and cans and even our household garbage on the parapets and so forth. And naturally, it would get into the drainage system. Some of it can be cleared easily by residents. Some cannot because, when it gets into the difficult parts on the bridges and so forth. So that is a major hindrance in terms of the existing drainage system that we have. When you have added to that with naturally silt and grass and so forth growing. But what you find in Bartica, I must commend the Bartica Town Council because
Mhm.
they have been in their efforts to keep drains clear and clean. Um, to some extent within what they can possibly do, because we know everything takes money.
Hmm.
So they have been clearing drains along with the Regional Democratic Council, giving out small contracts to aid in that effort. Unfortunately, the rain came, and the effect of the high tide, both factors contributed to the major flooding that we saw on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the mangrove, as you would have asked about, that is pure madness. In a time when the world at large is educating and advocating for the way we treat nature and the way we treat our environment. This is not just Guyana's problem. It is a worldwide problem. So to see something like that being done in the name, like I said, in the name of modern development, I believe that if we're to continue along that line, we destroy what is there to protect us, and what we replace it with will not necessarily protect us.
Yeah.
And if
Well
we
said.
continue along that line, what we're seeing happening in Guyana and in Brazil and other parts of the world, because it's countrywide where flooding is happening in many, many areas. And if we cannot take heed to what is happening and be visionary in our decision making to protect our land and protect the livelihood of our people, then we're going to see devastating effects. We're already seeing it. Thankfully, it is not so fatal in Guyana. We don't have lives lost due to flooding,
Yeah.
but we see in other countries one flooding and you might have 40 and more people dying because of these floodings. So we need to have a more broad vision for where we're heading, what we want to achieve, and how we treat our environment and protect our environment. Because once we protect our environment will protect us.
Yeah, yeah. Well said, Kamal. Well said. And I'm happy that you're doing so much on the ground there to help alleviate some of the suffering of the Bartitians and generally folks in Region 7 there. I hope I have my jurisdictions right now. But I heard
Yeah.
in Aranca, for instance, there were some flooding in early April coming down to the end. Do you know if the situation is better there?
Well, I haven't had a recent update, but I'd like to think so. But given the fact that this flooding is happening across the country in so many areas, um, I, I, I wouldn't want to pronounce on it. And if the situation there has reoccurred, or they're experiencing some type of difficulties due to what is happening across the country.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Is there anything else that we should know about what's happening there in Bartica?
Well, what I can say, Sharad, you would have said that the thing is that there is not so much we can actually do to really um, accept, empathize, and be compassionate towards those that would have suffered tremendous losses of property, goods, stores, and so forth. Is tremendous devastation when you see what the water has gotten into buildings that is never, we've never seen that extent of flooding and the losses. And knowing that we at the regional level, or even the local level, cannot actually step in with real help
Yeah.
to ensure
Yeah.
that we soften the impact of what would have occurred on Wednesday. While we're really hoping and praying that we don't see this extent of flooding reoccur, but we can only be hopeful, and on the grounds just try to do more to ensure that the drains are kept clean. But in the long term, the vision for me, if we're to really resolve these issues, we have to put in better drainage network. We have to think ahead, and we got to put adequate infrastructure in place. And it takes a lot of planning, and it takes a lot of expertise just visionary planning, because we don't want to face these type of issues the next 5 years from now, or next 10 years from now. It would mean that we are not truly developing if we continue to suffer these issues that can be resolved with the right management and the right planning and putting the right infrastructure in place.
Well said. Well said. And thanks for coming through. I hope that you get to do some of what you want to do, because I know you always have a program there to help the citizens again, not only in region in Bartica but in the whole of Region 7 and anywhere that you can. You're big hearted in that way. Kamal, thanks very much, Madam Vice Chair of the Regional Democratic Council, Region 7. Thanks for coming through this morning.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day, everyone.
Th- Thanks again, Kamal. Folks, as I said, the regional chair, region number 7, Kamal Prasad, they're representing our constituents and doing a lot on the ground to alleviate some of the suffering. I think we're going to have Mr. Vincroy Jordan, who's going to be joining us out of Region 5, out of Region 5 East. Sorry, Mahika Berbice. I was looking at Region 6. Uh, and he's going to be telling us about what is happening. I know he's on the ground there, so he's going to be joining us by phone, and he's going to be telling us a little bit about what has been happening in Mahika Berbice. I know we have some challenges with they had some challenges with the mobile pump, for instance, at Gordon Table, and also the right and left bank of the Myconic Creek was giving some problems in the sense that you had persons you were topping of that creek, right? So he's going to join us either by phone or WhatsApp. Let me see if I can get him on WhatsApp and bring through that call for it, because so much is happening in all of our regions, and we want to give you a sense, you the people, a sense of what is happening there. And I think we're going to have Vince Roy joining us. He was trying to call me while I was on with VC Kamal Prasad, and now I have to return a phone call. MP Vince Roy Jordan out of Region 5, a very good morning to you, sir. I know you're on the ground. I know you were trying to call me a couple of seconds ago. How are things here? You are live.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Well, thank you very much. Caribbean of what is happening here in Region 5. Um, Sherrod, we are experiencing in a number of villages flooding, and one such village that I am very much concerned about at the moment is Prophet Village on the west coast of Barbies, as water seems to be rising rapidly and nothing is being done. Underwater and the crops slowly die. Rosignol, pardon? Yes. Rosignol, the water, it is moving into a few homes. That is the last report I received this morning. And that is along Bennett Dam going down to the riverside. And then we have Katrina's loss on the west coast of Barbies also experiencing flood in Trafalgar. And in my very own village, Lovely Last, we now experiencing slight flooding to the southern side of the village. And so when you put it all together, West Coast Barbies Region 5, Myconi, we are experiencing a lot of flooding in this area. what I see the install administration doing through its regional administration is that I saw the regional chairman went into Maracaibo yesterday and he delivered food hampers. Now, I don't know how that can alleviate the flooding. And besides that,
And so
um,
I'm sharing with the viewers
I haven't
some of the
seen.
photographs. I'm sharing with the viewers some of the photographs from Maracaibo and the other areas currently.
Right, right. You can do that so that the viewers can see what is really happening. And as we speak, I'm on the ground actually, Sharon, and I'm slated to move to a number of villages throughout today. So I'll give you more update and I'll post more on my social media page so that the populace can be informed and most of the people of Region 5 can see what is really happening in and around their communities. And so getting back to measures to alleviate flooding in Region 5, if you look at pictures that I sent you in Profit, that the farmer there had to use a private excavator to do what they call a little saddlebank dam so as to keep the water off from their land. And you could see in the picture two chicken pen, it's already flooded already. And then you have I think it's a sheep pen and something else now water coming into the that area. And then also water rushing through some form of channel heading into the housing area if you saw that. The NDIA and MMA, they have one excavator on the ground and it was placed in Profit, not Profit, sorry, Fowls, the neighboring village to Profit. And that excavator is presently clearing a drain along the roadside, which has nothing to do at this immediate time with the flooding of the residents' houses and such like. That excavator basically is trying to save one man's farmland from being flooded. And as you know how the PPP always do their work, they only care about themselves. And so there is this farmer in that community that has called MMA and NDIA, and I understand that instructions was given that they deploy the excavator to that particular area, and so that he can be his farm can be saved, and the others who have their cash crops, water's now heading to their homes and such like, they're left to suffer. So thanks again to the caring government that was installed by Sarah Ann Lynch and the other um, crew members who ensured that they were placed into office.
Yeah, we were talking to MP Jai Prashad last evening concerning the flooding in six, and I know, for instance, that there is more rain expected there. What is the forecast, if you know, for Region 5 where you are there, Bahika Burbis?
Well, we are expecting more rain. As a matter of fact, we had a lot of rain throughout the entire night, and I've just seen the sun, come out a bit. But according to the forecast, we're supposed to have rains throughout the day with a bit of wind. But the Creator is all knowing and all powerful. So I saw a little bit of sun when I left the West Coast earlier. So I don't know what will happen, but the forecast says that we will continue to have rain. And with the forecast saying we will continue to have rain, that is very worrisome because as we speak, all the canals they're presently filled, and it is a time where we're experiencing unusual high tide, unusual tide. So it's very high at the moment. So it is only that if the tide goes down, then some areas can be drained, right? And to top it off, Sherrod, what people must know is that in Trafalgar Union, where we term as the basin of um, Region 5, the lowest area in the west coast of Berbice, when last year or I think a year and a half, we installed a pump in the seashore area there at Trafalgar, so as to drain the area in the event of any, eventuality, probably rain and high tides, we can get the water off the land. And what this government did only a few weeks ago is to remove the pump from Trafalgar and send it to the Myconi Creek, because they said that Myconi Creek is somewhat more important than Trafalgar Union, Lovely Last, and Golden Grove. And now that the tide um, is high, there is no way that the sluice can be open so the water can be drained. Now Trafalgar is underwater on the southern side, and if this should continue, the northern side will be completely immersed underwater for the next few days.
Well,
Because when the water comes on the land, it is difficult to drain it.
we're hoping for the very best for the residents of Region 5, Mahaica, Berbice, and 6, and citizens of the country on the whole. Perilous times, national flooding is here. We got COVID to contend with, and a government very, very lackadaisical. Thanks again, MP Vince Roy Jordan, out of Region 5.
It's been a pleasure, Shara. Thank you for hearing me.
Great. We are going to have Mr. Darren Adams, the chairman of the Regional Democratic Council Region 10, rather, who's supposed to be joining us. And let me see if I might be able to call him. He did say he was going to be on the ground and would try to touch base with us during the course of the morning. And let me see if he might be ready to take a call from us to get I know a lot of stuff happening there in Region 10, from Kokwani right through other areas in that region. And we'd love to get some thoughts about what is transpiring in Region 10 at the moment. A very, very big area. And I want to get it from him, the regional chairman himself, as to what is going on there. Region number 10, Upper Demwara, Berbice. He did say he was going to be on the ground. He was going to try to touch base with us. And I'm trying to ring him up. I'm certain you guys can hear the phone ringing there. Let me hope that when he gets a free minute that he can call us back, because as MP Vince Roy Jordan in Region 5 is underground, so lots of our MPs are with the people, with the citizens, trying to get an assessment of what their needs are and how the government can help. And the government includes the opposition. Believe it or not, folks, and we're doing what we can at our end. In the ring, we have launched our own care packages program, and we have been assisting persons where the need is greatest with COVID, and we are now extending that to persons who are in need because of this national flood. And if you guys can help in any way, we prefer food items and that kind of stuff that people can use readily. But if you have a financial contribution, you have our number, 627-6963. You can WhatsApp us there, and we can tell you how you can play a role in what's happening, alleviating some of the hardship from the folks on the ground. Let me see if I get MP Sherwin Holder out of region number 2, because I know he had some challenges there as well. I'm going to ring him up. He is supposed to be touching base with us too as to what is happening out of region 2. And we're going to have him hopefully with us before we wrap up the program this morning. And region 2, as you know, is Pomeroon, Supernam. And they had several issues there, especially infrastructural work that are needed by the NDIA, the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority. And we know, for instance, that the area called Kupui had some challenges, and I really want to get from him a sense on the ground what is happening. Again, all of our MPs are out in the field this morning, and we do have MP Sherwin Holder who is live with us. MP Sherwin Holder, you're live in the ring. We want to get a sense of what's happening in Region 2, Pomeroon Supernam, as pertains to the flood.
Hi, Sharon. Thanks for having me in the ring today. I almost forgot about your call.
Great to have you. You are live. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay. They're
Wow,
underwater again.
wow.
They're situation is really, really bad.
Yeah. Could you give us a sense of some of the areas that might be affected currently?
You have what's the place name? Sherrod, practically the entire lower Pomeroon area is underwater. Lower Pomeroon area areas in dredge. Yes, what I was saying is that the entire lower Pomeroon area, because that's the lower end, all those communities are affected right now. And in the upper area, which is even higher, areas like Siriki, Dredge Creek, Kabakaburi, even some parts of Karawap, that's the community way up in the Pomeroon. People have been calling me from all those areas. Their farms have been inundated with the water there. So the entire Pomeroon area. Now we're seeing on the coast is not underwater as yet. But if the rain continues and the negligence of the government continues, then we on the coast here will certainly be underwater in another few days. Now, this comes on the heels of complaints, especially from persons in the Pomeroon, the NDCs in the Pomeroon, who during the budget process, the Minister of Local Government dictated to them that they must put monies for streetlights instead of buying black tubes and putting monies to do revetment and building the riverbanks. That is what the people wanted. But
The
the
government didn't have the
minister had different
foresight to put
thoughts.
infrastructure in place with the incoming or then
Exactly,
impending rainy season.
exactly. And we have been saying this, Sherrod, and the thing is that we know that flooding is very prevalent in the Pomeroon especially. And we know that the May June rains would have been coming. We understand the effects of global warming. Now one would have expected that we would have had something very significant in the budget to cater to prevent flooding and to mitigate the effects of flooding. So people have their hands up right now. They don't understand what is the strategy of this government, what are their plans.
Well,
Nobody is saying anything.
unfortunately, the government's hands up too.
It seems so. It seems so. It very much seems so, Sherrod. I spoke with some persons in Akiwini Creek, and I saw some of the videos were being circulated on social media. Those people chicken pens are in covered in water. Their homes, water is now getting into their homes. It's very, very difficult for the people in region 2. And the sad thing is that the government also throw its hands in the air, and we're so we're just at to the will of God, or however you want to put it.
uh, have you seen on the ground there any movements with this administration to alleviate any of this kind of hardship being experienced by the people there?
Sherrod, no. The simple answer is no. I have not seen. I don't know if they went anywhere, but based on the calls that I am getting, I am of the opinion that largely they have not gone to any areas. I don't know if central government is not providing anything, or they don't have anything in the budget to deal with this kind of emergency, but I'm not seeing the regional administration going to these communities and offering some assistance. And I've been trying to make contact with them for the past 2 days, and nobody seems to be answering. And you know, it's like a duck and hide game right now. It's a duck and hide game right now. When we were in government, we were out there up front, you know,
Yeah.
but I don't understand the behavior of this administration now. And come to think of it, we now have a new industry. We have oil revenue. What are they doing with this revenue? We have to cater for situations like this, you know. So I don't know. We'll have to look and see in the coming days what is it that they are going to do as opposition um, members of parliament. We will have to exert a lot more pressure as we did. Remember, Sherrod, we were in the Pomeroon in January, and we kind of forced them to
Correct.
react,
Correct.
to offer some bit of aid to them. So it seems as though we're going to have to be on the ground again and begin to call out this administration and you know, put forward our own plans and put them under some pressure and let them get to it. They're
Whatever it
failing the
takes.
people.
Whatever
They're
it takes.
failing the people of
Yeah.
Region 2, and they're failing the people of this country.
And that's why we saw, for instance, the people in Region 6 burning tires, the Black Bush polar people, even after the minister visited, because they don't have a sense the government is doing anything meaningfully to alleviate their plight.
What? Yes, Sherrod, and it's the same thing here. People are telling me daily that they are promising them when they want them to vote. When it's elections time, they ensure that they go to these people and they offer certain things. But after the election is done and over and they were installed, you don't see them back. If they come, they make some promises and that's it, and they're gone. They don't do anything for the people. Look, in Syracuse, you know what one resident said to me? The resident said when they met with them, they told them that look, we gotta get some black tubes to aid in better drainage. They did carry a few black tubes, just a few, but guess who got those black tubes? Persons affiliated with the PPP.
That's the story all
That
over.
is how these
That's the
guys
story all
operate.
over. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
how these guys operate. The people said it to me. They said a few persons got. Sorry, I had a call coming in. A few persons got, but those are the ones affiliated with the PVP. So I don't know when you become the government if you're only supporters or you know I really can't understand it. And the people are getting fed up. They're getting fed up with this administration and its practices.
And rightfully so. Rightfully so. I can't see them lasting five years, really and truly. Really and truly. As somebody said, you don't want to necessarily go down a certain line. But these people's crosses, since they come, is one
Yes.
story to
Yeah.
the next. One story to the next.
All
All them should
sorts of
just
things.
beat
All
out.
sorts of things. They mismanage the economy where we told them that the cost of living was going to go up. They argue with us. Ashley had all sorts of things to say to us in Parliament. Look, a few months later, what it is. Then they mismanaged COVID. When they were in opposition, they instead of joining the team, we offered them a hand to join the team because this is a national issue. They criticize us. They form their own task force. And in the end, what happened? After they were installed, look what happened. They criticized the COVID. The novel idea of having a COVID hospital is the same hospital they had to turn back and use. The same very hospital that they criticize. You know, and they have mismanaged it in the last 9 months, and they still refuse to take advice from the opposition, who manage it far, far better. And when it was very new to the country, very new to the world, and we had little knowledge about COVID, but we pooled our resources together, our ideas, and we had civil society involved, all the agencies of government, and we managed it. We only had 21 deaths. Now they're speaking the vaccine will save everybody. They did 20% of the population already vaccine, and like as more deaths we get it. The more we get vaccines, the more we die.
Yeah.
And that beats logic. You know, they mismanaging
That is a
everything. Now the
tragedy.
flood. This administration is bad news for this country.
The people are finding that out because they had COVID to manage. The management of COVID is very, very poor. They got the flood. My God, the people, the Minister of Infrastructure, they're drinking with the body is posting it on social media. That's how they care. The vice president, they're talking everything else but the flood with critics. Right? You got it's just madness. It's just madness. And you said it, you characterized it perfectly correct. They are not ready for prime time. They aren't.
Sure, they're not ready for government. They are not ready for government, and the people are quickly recognizing that their own supporters are saying. Some of them are saying they will not vote next time for them. Some of them will stay home. Some of them are going to put their X for the new AFC government because we manage this country in a better way for the last 5 years. And somehow they managed to fool some of these people into thinking that when they come back into government, they're going to do better. They have done worse, and the people have recognized that.
And you're absolutely right. If we have election based on issues, people can never win. Elections
No, they
based on
can't.
issues,
They
they
can't.
can never win. Elections based on
They
valid
can't.
votes, they can never win. That's the challenge
Gerard,
we have.
I want to say something else to you. I spoke with someone called me, a very, very good friend, called me. And I was so shocked with what he was saying because he's working in the public sector. And he said, boy, this administration is so vindictive now. Me and you can't even catch up as we used to. If they see me and you talking, they are going to victimize me. This is a very good friend, This is a very good friend. He said if they only see, if the government only see that me and you talking, they are going to victimize me. He also expressed some concerns about this laying off that they want to do. We see that they want to lay off about 100 to 300 persons. So he was questioning why is it that they're trying to do that in this hard COVID high economic time. The cost of living is up. COVID has a severe impact on the country and people's livelihood, and you talking about firing people. And the important point that he raised also is that they can put billions into Gaisuku and re-employ persons there because they think that those persons support them. On the other hand, they're looking to fire 300 persons at GWI under the pretext that the company is not making money. Gaisuku has not been making money for the last 20 years. Gaisuku is taking money from us, as a matter of fact, by the billions. So they're not. The reasoning is not consistent. The reasoning is not consistent. And another thing he raised with me, he said, "Look, we have oil now. Why is it that oil cannot offset some of these things?" He doesn't understand. This is an honest, frank Guyanese speaking. I just try to give you a sense of what people are saying out there about this government. And
Well,
this was a guy,
other
mind you,
persons
this
might
was
say
a
it's
guy
a
that
no-brainer.
supported. This was a guy. He's my good friend, but this was a guy that supported the PPP in the last elections. And this is coming from him now. This is what he's saying now after 9 months with the PPP in office.
The PPP, like this structure that we're showing right now, the overturn. The PPP like this tractor, they just turn till the turnover, right? They turn till the turnover. But I want to thank MP for coming through. He seems to be having some challenges. There in
Yes,
reach.
yes, I'm back. Well, thank you for having me to share with your viewers for the last couple of minutes, Jared.
Yeah, I know you're on the ground there working hard, and I want to give you that time to be able to get an assessment so we can do what we have to do. Thanks very much, MP Sherwin Holder.
Yes. You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. Again, folks, our very own MP Sherwin Holder filing that report for us from Pomeroon Supernam, region number 2. And we hope that the weather is improving where you guys are locally. And that, if you guys are experiencing any kind of suffering, I know it's very hard in some places. You have, for instance, in some parts of region 3, some parts of region 6, some parts of region 10. It's very, very hard. It's very, very difficult what is happening in some of those places, right? And so, guys, reach out a hand where you can and help, help, help. Folks need help. We thank you guys for joining this update, this special update of what's happening locally. Nation underwater, 911, nation underwater. PPP has gone missing. Folks, thanks for joining us. Wherever you are joining us from, we encourage you guys to social distance, wear your mask, sanitize, and then you have all the other COVID protocols and regulations. We don't want to compound this flooding situation by any means, by compounding it with more COVID-19 positive cases. Take the precautions wherever you are and lend a helping hand where you can. Thanks for joining us, folks. That's all we have for you for this morning. Do stay safe.